So what didn't get reprinted in the Chronicles, the Virtuous, and the Fallen? Now make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button for Luluwalilith, so you guys don't miss out more content. I don't know why Luluwalilith didn't get one of the reprints for this, but it's because this card is honestly very important, because it's about summons out a light spellcaster from the deck whose attack or defense, equals its own, which, does open up some of the doors, especially since we can yeet this out of the extra deck for some of the extra little combo lines that kind of come with the deck. And honestly, I understand there's got to be a couple of things that Konami doesn't want to reprint to try to maintain some sort of value within the scales of the market, but not seeing Luluwalilith in a product where it would have kind of mattered to the general player base is, a little bit breathtaking in my personal opinion. But hey, you know what? You can go pick up a nice secret rare and add it to your deck and have the rest of the deck be ultra rare. I do, in fact, suppose. And then, of course, add Lydium. So there's a lot of random Despia cards that just didn't get reprinted in here. I'm not really sure why, because the Despia stuff was kind of an important part of the story. I mean, it was like the beginning touch part, but they really skipped over this. So Ad Lydium is the thing that goes during your main phase. You can make all monsters you currently control gain attack equal to their own level times 100 until the end of the opponent's turn. And if this card is in the hand or field, is used as fusion material and sent to the graveyard. You can target a Despia in your graveyard or a level 8 or higher fusion monster that is banished in your graveyard and special summon it. This card was very, very strong for the floatability and tools that it gave you. Now, we've kind of gone past the point of seeing, the Despia be a relevant piece, at least for Ad Lydium himself, but I still can't help but feel for the little guy, because he was once very great. And then there was Dramaturge. Now, Dramaturge just says if a fusion, synchro, exceed, or a link monster is special summoned, except during damage step, you could just target an effect monster on the field and negate its effects until the end of this turn. Now, if this card is in the hand or field, is used as fusion material, and sent to the graveyard, we could special summon this card back. This was a floating 3k attack point body that would just get the ability to come back, and then it would see a fusion summon, and then you get the ability to basically negate something. Now, your last print of this was a secret rare out of the MP 2022 tins. So once again, you're dealing with the possibility here of needing some decent rarity upgrades to make this stuff look a little bit better, but I'm once again not opposed to the idea of, if you want to build Dramaturge into the deck, and relive some of the earlier days of things, you could. Now, there was also Queritus. Now, this was a Despia monster plus a light or dark monster, generically, which was not bad. It just says, during the main phase quick effect, you can change the attack of all monsters currently on the field to 0 until the end of this turn, except level 8 or higher fusion monsters. This is how you OTK your opponent, which is very good. And if this card's face up on the field leaves its owner's control, goes to an opponent's card effect, you can add your hand or special summon a Fallen of Albaz or a Despia monster. This itself gives you another floating potential for what you want to be seeing with this deck. But yet, once again, we don't really get to see, Queritus being one of those cards that you think about choosing to play. It's just, hey, we have access to these tools. They do look very, very strong, but, once again, another secret rare for the MP 2022 tins that gets scraped under. And then there's dear old daddy Proskinian. Now, for those of you that don't know, Proskinian is one of the most absurd cards in the Despia pool, because it's a Despia plus a light and a dark monster. So you have to hit 3 fusion materials to make this. But your payoff is during the main phase. You can target a fusion, synchro, exceed, or a link monster in your opponent's graveyard, banish it, or special summon it to your field. And then, what is this? When the card destroys opponent's monster by battling and inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack or defense, whichever was higher. This thing stands at 3,200 attack points. It is like the apex chomping machine of brokenness, but for whatever reason, once again, I mean, Despia got shafted. I mean, this is 4 Despia cards. Also, Tragedy didn't get reprinted either. So, I don't know, man. I'm a little bit curious as to what their logic was with dodging all of this. Now, there was also the Alba System Dogma Calamity, which is a Fallen of Alba has plus 6 monsters in your graveyard with different materials. The fusion requirements on this thing are so ridiculous, but it must be fusion summon, and can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. And then it cannot declare an attack unless you send a card from your extra deck to the graveyard. And then once per turn, if you control this fusion summon card and have 6 or more fusion monsters in your graveyard with different card names that mention the Fallen of Albaz, you can basically rip everything from each player's extra decks and send them to the graveyard. Yes, this is a 4,500 attack point monster, but it's more of a meme than anything to work with because it's already such an extremely hard thing to work with. Though they have been adding a lot of stronger cards to the pool to try to make Albaz into a better deck. And I do appreciate the consistency upgrades from what they've been trying to give to something this card easier. And of course we have Alba Zoa himself in the Dogmatika department. Now this is going to be the crazy ritual monster that you have to summon with Dogma Calamity or another Dogmatika effect. Your Dogmatika monsters are unaffected by the activated effects of your opponent's fusion, synchro, exceed, or link monsters. And then during the main phase you can make your opponent choose and apply one of these effects. Alright, so for every 2 cards in your opponent's extra deck, you send a card from their hand or extra deck to the graveyard, or you return all fusion, synchro, exceed, link monsters you control to the extra deck. They typically play this in like the ritual version of Dogmatika, where you're basically trying to cheese your opponent and get out, you know, those super ha-ha funny scenarios. Just shaving out broken cards from your opponent is really, really strong. I think a lot better than people kind of initially think. But definitely, if you're trying to build the Dogmatika deck, something that you are going to want to have. And then we have the Brightest Blazing Branded King. It just lets us choose a fusion monster you control that mentions Fallen of Albaz, and negate the effects of all their face-up cards currently on the field until the end of this turn. Skill drain? And then during the end phase, if a fusion monster was sent to the graveyard this turn, you can add this card from the graveyard to your hand. Now, you can only use one Blazing Brightest Branded King effect once per turn, and only once that turn. I don't know, once again, why we never saw a reprint for this. I don't know if Konami just saw and went, oh, Floodgate, we don't want to reprint this, or maybe they just didn't want this part of the story getting out, which, I mean, I guess you are kind of telling, spoiler alerts, the ending to the story, and maybe Konami didn't want that, because that feels kind of counterintuitive here of what they've had. Now, your Brightest Blazing Branded King features Albion, the Sanctifier Dragon. Now, for those of you that also don't know, this thing didn't get reprinted. It's Fallen of Albaz plus a light spellcaster. It can't be used as fusion material. Your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. It can only use each of the Falling of Albion once per turn. It's during your opponent's turn. You can target 2 monsters in your graveyard and swap summon both monsters, 1 to each field. So this is where the soft locking begins. And then we can have, what is this? You can special summon both to the field. And if this card is in your graveyard, you can tribute 4 monsters, 2 in the extra monster zones, and 2 in the central main monster zones. Just special summon this. You know, I've never seen this card actually revive off of its revival effect, especially, you know, eating 4 zones, 2 each to revive, but it is a likely candidate that it could potentially do that. So I don't know. I'm more impressed that, you know, this card didn't see its key reprint. And then of course, you know, the alt arts. You know, the RAO4, beautiful, beautiful arts we did not get the chance to see get reprinted. Obviously, cosmetics like this are basically more of the your decision. If you want them, you can get them style of things, especially if you're a collector. But the fact that we didn't get the chance to get these, I mean, these would have been too much for this. And I like that Konami is actually going, hey, you know, we're going to keep these cosmetics, you know, over here in this set so you can pick them up as part of the 25th. So I think that's one good piece. But what do you guys think? Please comment down below. I hope this will help you guys out with what you want to pick up. You guys have a good rest of your day, all right? patrons. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.